Just bear with me a second, getting things set up. Good morning. Hey, it's Shel Anderson, and I would like to welcome you to Lunch Break with Shel. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I do short Lunch Break with Shel videos Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Central Standard Time. As well, I do a Facebook Live on Wednesday nights at 6:30. Today we are going to be having a play with the Perfect Pomegranate stamp set. This is a host stamp set for Celebration. And I have not inked this yet, so we're going to have our first go at this together. And I've paired it with the go-to greetings. This is a beautiful greeting set, has the same repetitive greetings. Happy birthday, thinking of you, just a note, thank you, and hello in different sizes, okay? So that's a go-to greeting, okay? So I didn't have any idea, to be honest, about what were the proper colors for a pomegranate. So I Googled it, and on the majority of them, the skins were red with yellow and rust towards the top of the pomegranate. The insides were white or very, very pale yellow flesh with red or burgundy seeds. And the leaves are garden green. So that is how I pulled my color palette for today, and I have a lot of ink pads here. I have Real Red, Cherry Cobbler, Cajun Craze, So Saffron, Pale Papaya, Sahara Sand, Soft Suede, and Garden Green. Now I do not know if we're going to use all of those inks or not, but I have them ready. I also have a piece of watercolor paper because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff to this card today, and decided that watercolor paper might be a better choice because it's a thicker choice. I have Versamark ink and a block. I have some gold leafing. I have my embossing buddy and some heat and stick powder. I have an ink tool, and I have a whole handful of different I'm at a loss for words. Sponge daubers. There we go. And of course I have my Stamparatus. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put my greeting on this card. So I am going to put this into the Stamparatus, and I'm going to, put my greeting on my card, and I've chosen just a note, and that way you can put whatever you want on the inside. It can be for any occasion, and I'm choosing the smallest greeting because I don't know what's going to be happening here, to be honest. And I am going to do this in, actually I'm going to grab somewhere I have, wonder if it's under here. No, of course I moved it. Alright, let me see. I have a sheet of acrylic somewhere. I have them all over the place. I just don't know where they are right now. I wanted to stamp the greeting on a piece of acrylic. So that, there it is. It's hiding. Alright. Make sure there's no residual ink on here, and there is. And I don't know which side it's on, so we better clean this. I just like stamping before I actually stamp on my paper onto acrylic to make sure that my greeting is straight. I think it is, but you never know, right? That magnet is no good whatsoever. Let me see if I can get my other Stampin' Up! Magnet. Here we go. All right, so I think I'm just going to use Memento black ink for this. And we will give this a whirl. Perfect. All right, so let's just pull that out and set that aside. And now we'll re-ink. And stamp. Now this is watercolor paper, and there's a slight texture to this paper, so we're going to have to stamp this multiple times to get a nice crisp dark image of our sentiment. There we go. All right, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna clean that off and put it back in the stamp case, and that way I'm not losing it. Because I have a feeling that we are going to be very messy here today. All right, I am just gonna move those two magnets, and I'm going to leave this right on here. And I'm going to take my Sahara Sand ink, and I'm going to use an ink blending tool, and I want to add some, I guess, distressy look to this. That's not what I was going for. But as you can see, it's making those kind of weird circly marks on here. It's grabbing it. So I guess we're going to go with it. Not quite what was... Oh, do you see what I just did? I'm going to go with it. I smudged that black a little bit. But that's... I'm just going to go with it and say it's part of the distressy look. So perhaps if you're going to duplicate this card, it would be a good idea to take your heat tool and heat set that a little bit. And that being said, that's exactly what I'm going to do right now with the ink that I just put on there. Before I add any more layers on here, I want to make sure that that ink is good and dry. All right. So that's our first disaster. Now I am going to do some stamping. So we will get out our stamps, and I think I'm going to start with this branch and leaves. And I kind of want it something like that. I think. All right, we'll grab those magnets back. Something like so. And I think I was going to use the ink pad and sponge daubers, but I think what I'm going to do is I am going to ink it in garden green and stamp it. Well, I guess perhaps today wasn't a good day for me to be taping this video. Wow. Sorry about that. Better get the ink off there, or it's going to be all over my fingers. Case of the dropsies today. As I was saying, I'm going to ink this with garden green. And then I'm going to do the branches with a marker, so that I'm going to have two colors. I think I'm going to stamp that again. Now this is a distinctive stamp, so there are light and dark areas built into the stamp. I think that's nice. I'm going to stop right there. And I'll clean the green off that stamp. And I'll put this one away. And then I'm going to grab a soft suede marker. I don't know if the soft suede's going to be dark enough, but we're going to give it a go. If not, we have darker markers we can use. Sorry, I'm off camera. I know that now. Just put the stamp case under here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just taking my marker and the branches on the tree I am coloring with the soft suede. And I don't think it's going to be dark enough. We will see. No, you can't even tell. We're going darker. We are going to go early espresso. Now, if you so desire, if you don't want to stamp it all in green, you could very easily do all of this with markers. Do your leaves with the green marker. And remember, these have to be Stampin' Right markers, not Stampin' Blends. Give that a good press. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, that was early espresso marker. Clean this one off. And put it away. And I'm going to grab this one. And those little babies, no, maybe not. Okay. I thought that those two would line up with those branches, and I was mistaken. I've been wrong before. So if I put that one off to the side like so, all right, now how am I going to do this one? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a real red marker and I'm going to color the bottom part with the marker. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sponge dauber and add some different colors to the top. Maybe a little bit of pale papaya and maybe just a touch of Cajun crease. At the very top. And let's keep these dauber. Let's just stamp that and see what it looks like. Alright, I think the way to go with this is daubers, to be honest. So I'm going to get my real red and I'm going to fill this in with real red. And back to some Cajun crease at the top. Now I know this video is going to be a little longer than normal because of all this fussing around, but I'm hoping that in the end this is going to be beautiful. I'm hoping. Alright, I am going to add some cherry cobbler. I'm thinking that this is not going to be dark enough for what I'm looking for. And let's give this a go. It's coming. I think it's because of the texture on the paper and the distinctiveness of the stamp as well. So I am really going to load this with ink this time. And see what happens. See, it's coming, and you can see the shadow there on this, let me see, this side. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of real red. I can find my dauber, there it is. And I'm going to do a little bit of shading up in here. See how it's getting a little bit of shadow there? All right, now I'm going to clean this stamp. And yes, it will stain the inks, especially the darks, the blues and the reds will stain your stamps, but it's not going to hurt them. They're going to work perfectly. They'll just be easier to see in your stamp case. See, there's an upside to everything. All right. Top, we'll get some of this. Real red. And then cherry cobbler for the rest. And I'm blending into that real red as well. Give that a press. All right, let's do this again. So cherry cobbler. Real red. Oh, did you see what I almost did it right on the paper? All right, let's give this a look. It's coming. I think we need a little bit of Cajun craze up at the top, like I did in the other one. All right, I'm going to take the pale papaya marker and fill in there. That looks nice. I like that. Now I'm going to clean my stamp one more time. And I'm going to add pale papaya to the entire thing and go over the cherry cobbler. Ooh, that's cool. That's what that needed. Bring this up closer so you can see. See how that kind of fills it in and gives it a little more realistic look to it. I'm going to take this stamp off and put it back over here. That's the beauty of those clear ones. We can see right through those. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Yes, much more realistic looking. All right, I'm happy with that. Now, let me get these back on this sheet before I lose them. And we will continue our journey. All right, let's close up some of these ink pads. So I never touched the So Saffron or the Soft Suede. Just so you know what I have and haven't used. So Saffron. Real red. Cherry cobbler. And pale papaya, and the pale papaya marker, and of course Cajun craze. There, we've got all of those put away. Get those daubers out of the way, and our memento black. Okay, now my friends, we are going to have some fun. We're going to get messy. I'm going to remove this magnets again. Have a sip of coffee. And I'm going to take my embossing buddy and I am just going to powder all over this very well because some of that ink may still be wet. All right, we're done with that. Now I am going to grab, I'm trying to turn my fan on, it's very hot in here. There we go. All right. My thought was I'm going to take Versamark and this block and just add Versamark. But the problem that I have with that is that I'm going to have very square, angly blobs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sponge dauber and I am going to make sure that there's nothing on there. I am going to pick up some Versamark and trying to keep my hands off this. I'm going to use my dimensionals where I would like to see a little bit of gold. I'm going to add some Versamark. Now, the only way that we're going to find out on this paper, because even I can't see what the contact is, like normally on cardstock you can see looking for my embossing tray if you're wondering what I'm doing. On normal cardstock, you can see where it's wet. I can't see a thing on this one. I'm being blatantly honest with you. So I'm just going to sprinkle the heat and stick powder. This is not embossing powder. This is heat and stick powder all over around where I think I added. Oh yeah, it did work. I can see it now. All right, let's get this back in here. I was kind of freaky because I couldn't see a thing, and normally with embossing powder you can. But this is the first time I think I've ever embossed on watercolor paper. All right, so we're going to turn on this heat tool and warm it up a little bit. And let me pick this up. And you want to be careful not to overheat heat and stick powder. You want to just melt it. This is going to be fun to see what we come up with here. All right, now let's bring this tray back in here because we're about to get messy. We are going to carefully, ask me how I've learned this, take the cover off this gold leafing, and we're going to grab some. And I'm going to set the cover back on here just so that, now somewhere here, I'm not totally prepared for this. I have a brush. And we're just going to take this gold leafing and push it into this heat and stick powder. And as you can see, it will attach itself wherever there's this powder. And then you just polish off the excess Guess there's none up there. I thought I had some up there. You just polish off the excess with a brush. And yes, it's messy. And I don't have enough on here yet for my liking. But in the end, it is absolutely beautiful. And I think that we should have some more down here. Yes, there is more heat and stick powder here. Let's get some more. We can get some big ones. Oh, there's a nice big one. We can find the powder spot. Alright, I guess that's all the areas, so I think I'm going to have to add a little bit more. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to add a little bit more Versamark and a little bit more heat and stick powder because I didn't get as much as I wanted. I'm going to put some up here and some here, and I like to have some right there. All right, get a different tray. And we'll put some more heat and stick powder on here. If I can find it, there it is. And see what I can come up with. I know I put some there. And I know I put some there. Let's just do that. Pull that off. Dump this back in. All right, now for this next part, I'm going to have to do it off camera or all this gold leafing will go flying. So just bear with me a minute while I melt this heat and stick powder. All right, that didn't take too long. Let's see what we can do. I can feel some right there. It's stuck to my fingers. All right, that's looking good. And as you can tell, I find it just as easy to use your finger to burnish it into the heat and stick powder. And like I said, this is messy, but guess what? Sometimes we just have to get messy. All right, I am going to sit this aside. I will clean this mess up after the video. I just need to make sure the cover's on this big guy. As you can see, we have little flakes flying around everywhere. All right, let's bring this in and have a look. How cool is that? We've got some Sahara sand distressing in the background, and you can't even see those swirls anymore, so that was something I should not have even bothered to worry about. And I'm just going to grab a piece of dry paper towel. And I'm just going to rub over this to remove anything that's not attached, because you don't want gold fluffies. That's still sticky right there, and yet the gold leaf didn't stick. Obviously I didn't burnish it very well. I'm going to see if I can pick some up and get it back on there. Yeah, I didn't burnish that area very well, and you could sure see the difference. I don't know how long this video is, but I apologize. It's not a short one today. I probably should have done this in a Facebook Live. There we go. All right, I'm happy with that. All right, so now we have to figure out what we're going to do for the rest of our card. I am going to grab some cherry cobbler, real red, and garden green cardstock, and we will have a look and see what we want to do. I just grabbed some partial pieces of some. I'm thinking cherry cobbler is going to be the way to go. And I'm thinking the garden green is not even in the equation. However, I do like evening evergreen. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me grab my paper trimmer, and we will cut this down. I think this is 4 1/4. No, it's 4. So I'm going to take off 1/8 of an inch from this side because I can, and I'm going to take off 1/8 of an inch from this side. So then I'm going to make this 5 1/4 by 4. And that should match this beautifully with just a nice skinny border. All right, I'm happy with that. Oh, I need a piece for the inside of basic white. by 5¼ inches. All right, we have all our bits and pieces. So I'm going to take this little piece with the gold leaf, with the gold leafing on it, and I'm going to put that on the inside panel of the card. Just add a little bit of interest. There we go. All right, let's get this card base folded, and then we can put, it doesn't look like it's the right size. You have a look here. 8½ by 5½. Yep, it's just my eyes are out. All right, bone folder. There we go. And then we will be able to glue this to the inside of our card. A nice place to write a greeting. And when they open it up, they get to see that little wee bit of gold glitz that matches the front. Okay, now we are going to layer this up. And just try to match our borders so that they're the same all the way around. Man, this is pretty. Hope it's picking up on the camera because it's really neat. And I'm just gluing this one flat down. I think this is one of those cards that gold leafing and distressing is just going to do the speaking for itself. It's a shame that that's a little bit smudged, but oh well, that's okay. It's a handmade card. Now, I don't know that I need anything on here, but I'm going to have a look and see what I've got. You know, this might not be too bad if I made a little bow. Let me try this. I've got some of this evening evergreen organdy ribbon. I'm going to make a little bow and see what this looks like. We'll never know till we try, right? If you're wondering why I have all these holes in this, this isn't actually a bow maker. I put all these dowels in here to put my baker's twine on, but I've got so much baker's twine that, yeah, I gave up on that. Oh, that's not too bad. All right, we'll go with that. Let me grab one of these super sticky glue dots. And we'll pop this baby on our card. Now, I need a pick tool. Somewhere I have one. I don't know where. Here it is. I like to have the tails and my bows tamed. It's a pet peeve of mine. I know it's a little stupid, but that's just me. I don't like them helter-skelter all over the place. All right, what do you think? Do we need a little bit more glitz on here? I am using the Retired Gilded Gems. And I think we are done, my friends. I might move that if it's not glued down too terribly. A little bit close together. Check that out. Isn't that pretty? And that, my friends, is the Perfect Pomegranate and Go to Greetings. This is the Celebration Host set. So if you host a party, you can earn this pomegranate set. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it went long, but it happens. I will be back here Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon for typically short lunch break with Shel videos, and Wednesday nights at 6:30 for longer Facebook Lives. Hope you can join me. Bye-bye for now.